Every child believes their parent is their protector. But for 9-year-old Paityn, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 5-year-old Olivia Decker, that sacred trust was shattered in the most unimaginable way. This is the chilling story of a planned visitation that ended in murder and a desperate manhunt for the one man who should have loved them unconditionally, their own father.
It's a truly profound tragedy. It's shaken the communities there, Wenatchee, Leavenworth, and honestly, it's resonated deeply across the country.
It really has.
So what we want to try and do today is take the information available, the reports, court documents, statements, and lay out a concise timeline of the events.
Yeah, pull out those key details that help us, and you listening, understand what happened, and crucially, what this ongoing search for Travis Decker actually involves.
Okay, so to really get the context, we probably need to start with Travis Decker's background.
Right. What do we know? The sources tell us he served in the U.S. Army.
Yes, he was an infantryman, specifically with the 75th Ranger Regiment from 2014 to 2016, stationed out of Joint Base Lewis-McChord.
And there was a deployment.
To Afghanistan in 2014. It was about 4 months long, according to the information we have.
And that Ranger connection. That's significant, isn't it?
It really is. Because that means he would have received extensive training. We're talking advanced navigation, survival skills.
Skills that, as we'll see, become critically relevant to the search that's happening right now.
Exactly. And it seems like not too long after his military service ended, he reportedly left voluntarily. Honorable discharge things in his personal life began to, well, deteriorate.
Yeah, the sources point towards 2022. That's when his marriage to Whitney Decker was facing significant strain.
Right. And the court documents, they link this breakdown pretty directly to his struggles with mental health.
Things like isolation, paranoia. There was even a diagnosis mentioned, right?
Yes, borderline personality disorder. That diagnosis came up as a major factor contributing to the marriage ending.
And these weren't just abstract issues. They had real, tangible consequences for his parenting.
Absolutely. Fast forward to September 2024, just, months before this horrific event, Whitney filed a parenting plan modification in Chelan County Superior Court.
And she was specific about her concerns.
Very. She cited neglected parental duties, and she specifically mentioned a long-term emotional or physical problem, her words that she felt was hindering his ability to parent effectively.
So the court took action.
It did. That filing resulted in the court imposing some pretty significant restrictions on his time with the girls.
What kind of restrictions are we talking about?
Well, his visitation was limited. Only 3 hours on Fridays and then 8 hours every other weekend.
Okay.
And crucially, those visits had to stay within the Wenatchee Valley area. No overnight visits allowed, period.
And the court also pushed for him to get help.
Yes, mandated evaluations, one for anger management, and also a full psychiatric evaluation. It shows the system was, aware of concerns. They were attempting to put some safeguards in place.
But here's where it gets, complex, even contradictory, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, the sources also include statements from Whitney's attorney, Ariana Kozart. And despite all these court-ordered restrictions that documented mental health issues, Kozart described Travis differently.
Oh.
She called him an active dad, a good co-parent, said he communicated regularly with Whitney, even stated he hadn't been a violent man towards Whitney or the girls before this.
That is hard to square.
Wow.
How do you reconcile those two pictures? The concerned mother filing for restrictions and the attorney saying he was an active, nonviolent co-parent.
It's incredibly difficult. And that same attorney Kozart, she also provided more context on his struggles. Mentioned he'd become homeless about 1.5 years prior.
After leaving the Army.
Yes. And apparently struggled to hold down even minimum wage jobs.
Right. And this is where that attorney introduced a really significant point, didn't she? The idea that the system failed him.
She did. She pointed specifically at what she called inadequacies in veteran services. Claimed that red tape prevented Travis from getting the mental health help he needed for PTSD, other issues.
And she explicitly linked that failure, that lack of support, to this tragic outcome.
Yeah. That perspective, it definitely raises huge questions about the support infrastructure for veterans, especially those dealing with mental health challenges after service.
It does. But regardless of the root causes or whether the system failed him, the situation itself was clearly unstable. Volatile.
And there's evidence revealed later that suggests Travis might have been planning something drastic even before that final visit.
Ah, the Google searches.
Exactly. That came out in an affidavit from a U.S. deputy marshal. It showed that in the days leading up to the girl's disappearance, late May 2025, Travis Decker was searching some very specific things online.
Things like, let me see, how does a person move to Canada, how to relocate to Canada, and jobs Canada.
Yeah, those aren't the searches of someone just planning a normal weekend visit with their kids, are they?
Not at all. They strongly suggest he was thinking about leaving the country, planning some kind of escape, maybe? The significant relocation at the very least.
And then came Friday, May 30th, 2025.
The day of the planned visitation.
Travis Decker picks up his daughters, 9-year-old Paityn, 8-year-old Evelyn, and little 5-year-old Olivia. Picks them up in Wenatchee.
But like we said, the court order was clear. This visit was supposed to be short, just a few hours, stay in the Wenatchee Valley, no overnight.
But hours later, they weren't back.
No. And when they didn't return on time, their mother, Whitney, did the right thing. She reported them missing.
Panic must have set in immediately.
You have to imagine. So by Saturday, May 31st, the next day, an endangered missing person alert was activated for the children.
There was also a mention of him being seen on a Ring camera before the visit.
Yes, sources mentioned that. Seen on a Ring camera before picking up the girls that Friday. Just another small detail in the timeline.
Now, something that's drawn a lot of criticism since the Amber Alert issue.
Right. A full Amber Alert wasn't initially issued.
Why not, given the history, the restrictions?
Well, the reasoning reported was that authorities at that specific point in time didn't believe Decker posed an immediate danger to his own children, despite the known mental health issues, despite the custody order.
Wow.
Yeah. And the mother's attorney, Cozart, later called that decision, her words, a potentially deadly mistake.
Hindsight is always 20/20, but still, heartbreaking to hear that.
It is. So the search ramped up over that weekend, and then on Monday, June 2nd, information came in. It directed the Chelan County Sheriff's Office search teams to a specific area.
Where was that?
A remote spot along Icicle Road near Leavenworth.
Okay.
And that's where they found it. Travis Decker's pickup truck parked near the Rock Island campground.
And inside the tree?
They made the discovery everyone feared, the absolute worst outcome.
The girls?
Yes. The 3 Decker sisters, Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia, were found deceased inside the vehicle.
Oh, God. Just unimaginable.
And the scene. Sources mentioned disturbing evidence found near the truck as well, specifically zip ties and plastic bags.
Zip ties and plastic bags. Just chills you to the bone.
Mm-hmm. An autopsy was done later, that following Friday, June 6th. It confirmed the cause of death.
What did it find?
For all 3 girls, the cause of death was suffocation, and the manner of death, homicide.
Suffocation.
And the sources, they detail that the girls were found bound with zip ties, and they had plastic bags over their heads.
It underscores the absolute horror, the planning, the chilling nature of their final moments.
It does, but Travis Decker, he wasn't there.
Gone.
Not at the scene with the truck. He had vanished. And that moment right there marked the beginning of this massive, intense manhunt.
And he had a head start, didn't he?
A potentially significant one. Authorities estimated he could have been gone for up to 3 days before the bodies were discovered. 3 days, potentially, to get away.
Especially with his background.
Exactly. So the investigation immediately focused on the truck and the scene. Investigators reported collecting a large amount of evidence. Personal items, things belonging to the suspect.
And blood evidence.
Yes. Blood samples were collected from the scene. Initial tests confirmed the presence of human male blood. And also, interestingly, non-human blood.
Non-human, like animal blood.
Presumably. The reports also noted that the tailgate of the truck had what appeared to be 2 handprints of blood.
So more analysis is needed there. DNA, fingerprints.
Correct. All that is still pending. And investigators have actually said that analyzing the evidence found creates more questions and information for them, which really highlights just how complex this crime scene is, and maybe how much planning went into it.
There was also something about his dog.
Right. Travis Decker's dog was apparently also found at the scene near where the truck was located. It was recovered and turned over to a local humane society.
Okay, so Decker's gone. Where do they even start looking? The area is vast, rugged.
Immense. The scale of the search quickly became huge. Hundreds of square miles. Searched by land, by water, by air.
Federal resources involved.
Oh, yes. Federal helicopters, state patrol, fixed-wing aircraft. A major operation.
And who's leading the search now?
Well, The Chelan County Sheriff's Office is still leading the criminal investigation into the murders themselves, but the primary search effort, finding Decker, that was transitioned to federal authorities on Sunday, June 8th.
Which agencies?
FBI, U.S. Border Patrol, Homeland Security investigations, essentially giving the local resources who'd been going nonstop a chance to regroup and rest.
Makes sense. Where are they focusing the search?
Primarily on that incredibly rugged terrain around Icicle Road in Leavenworth, places like the Enchantments Wilderness area.
Which they actually shut down temporarily.
Yes, to aid the search. There's also speculation he might be trying to use the Pacific Crest Trail, the PCT. It runs roughly 11 miles overland from where the truck was found.
And this brings us back to his training, his Ranger background.
Absolutely critical. He's been described repeatedly as a very avid and well-versed outdoorsman.
Yes.
Someone potentially capable of surviving out there for a long time.
Weeks, months.
Potentially.
Right.
With minimal equipment. Sources mention he apparently spent 2.5 months living off the grid once before. His range and training navigation, survival, it just enhances those capabilities significantly.
But survival experts have also weighed in, right?
Yeah.
Saying it's not easy, even for someone trained.
No, it's incredibly difficult. They talk about the rule of threes. 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, roughly. And the immense psychological toll of being alone, hunted in the wilderness, plus actually finding enough food consistently is extremely hard.
Still, the concern is very real that he could sustain himself out there for a significant period.
Very real. And because of that and the horrific nature of the crime, the public warnings are serious. Do not approach Travis Decker.
He's considered dangerous.
Poses a significant risk, authorities say, and it's unknown if he's armed.
Do we have a description?
Yes. 5 feet, 8 inches tall. Black hair, brown eyes. Last seen wearing a light-colored shirt and dark shorts.
And there's a way for people to help if they see something.
Definitely. The Chelan County Sheriff's Office has set up a specific tip line. The number is 509-667-6845. We'll put that in the description, too.
Is there a reward?
Yes. A $20,000 reward is being offered for information that directly leads to his arrest.
And federally.
He's been charged federally as well. Unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. So multiple agencies are looking for him under serious charges.
Amid all this, the search, the investigation, there's also been some speculation about his fate, hasn't there?
There has. Specifically, the mother's attorney, Coatsart, reportedly suggested she believes Travis Decker may have died by suicide.
But that's just speculation at this point, not confirmed.
Correct. Completely unconfirmed by authorities. They are operating under the assumption he is alive and actively searching for him.
Okay. And the evidence analysis continues.
Yes, the sheriff's office emphasized that. It's ongoing, it's complex, and it's likely to reveal more information and perhaps raise even more questions as they proceed.
Beyond the manhunt, the investigation, the impact on the community, it must be devastating.
Absolutely devastating. Wenatchee, Leavenworth. These are communities grappling with just profound sadness.
Yeah.
Shock. Disbelief.
See signs of it.
You do. Memorials have sprung up. Flowers, candles, stuffed animals, messages. Visible tributes left in memory of Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia.
And there was a vigil.
Yes, held in Wenatchee, drew about 300 people. And what was really striking, sources noted, was how many children were there.
Friends, classmates.
Yeah. Kids who knew the sisters from school. They were in kindergarten, 2nd, and 3rd grade. Knew them from activities like dance team was mentioned. It just, it really brings home the impact on the other children in the community, trying to process this loss.
It's heartbreaking. And the support for the mother, Whitney.
It's been incredible, truly overwhelming. An online fundraiser, a GoFundMe, it surpassed $1 million by Monday, June 9th.
Wow.
It's just a massive outpouring, a testament to the community wanting to provide tangible support during this unimaginable nightmare for her.
And circling back, this event has also reignited those systemic questions we touched on earlier.
The mother's attorney continues to be vocal about her belief that the system failed Travis. That lack of adequate mental health care through veteran resources, she sees it as a contributing factor.
Right. That narrative's out there.
And also the decision about the Amber Alert. Not issuing one immediately, despite the known risks, the custody issues, the mental health flags, that continues to be heavily scrutinized.
That phrase, deadly mistake, keeps coming up. The idea that maybe valuable time was lost.
Exactly. It's a question that hangs heavy over the initial response.
So where do things stand right now? As of today, Monday, June 9th, 2025.
Travis Decker remains missing, at large. wanted on extremely serious charges. 3 counts of first-degree murder, 3 counts of first-degree kidnapping, and custodial interference.
The search is ongoing, led by federal authorities now.
Correct. Focused on that difficult terrain. The investigation into the murders themselves also continues, and the detailed analysis of all that evidence is still pending.
And the community.
The community continues to grieve, to support the family. And those difficult discussions around potential systemic failures, around veteran support, around emergency alert systems, those persist too.
Look at the facts surrounding the deaths of Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia Decker, and the search for their father, Travis. It's just a sobering reminder of a tragedy with so many painful, complex layers.
It really is. From the individual mental health struggles, the family breakdown, to these larger questions about institutional support and response.
The loss of these 3 young girls, Paityn, Evelyn, Olivia, it's just devastating. And the uncertainty around their father's whereabouts, it just adds another layer of pain, of tension for everyone involved and for that whole community watching and waiting.
The gravity is immense.
It is. We know going through stories like this is incredibly difficult, but trying to understand the timeline, the known details, it feels important. As we walk through it, what aspects of this tragic story stood out most to you?
It's a heavy question. Your own thoughts and reflections are valuable, and we really encourage you to share them, respectfully, of course, in the comments below.
If you found this exploration of the available information useful, or if you want to stay informed on cases like this, please do consider subscribing to the channel. It genuinely helps us continue to examine complex situations based on the sources and information available.
And for anyone who wishes to offer direct support to the girl's mother, Whitney Decker, and her family during this incredibly difficult time, there is that official GoFundMe campaign set up. We have put a direct link to it in the description below this recording.
Critically important. If you have any information, truly anything, no matter how small it might seem, about the possible whereabouts of Travis Decker, please contact the authorities immediately. That Chelan County Sheriff's Office tip line number again is 509-667-6845. That number is also listed in our description.
Yes, please. And consider sharing this information, this timeline. Raising awareness about the ongoing manhunt is crucial. It keeps his face out there, and it also helps ensure that the memory of Paityn, Evelyn, and Olivia is honored.
And finally, just a necessary reminder, if you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, please know that there is help available. Reach out. There are resources like the crisis text line. You can text the word STRENGTH to 741-741.
We've also compiled some additional mental health resources and links, and those are also available in the description below. Please don't hesitate to use them if you need them.